in your kids' lives. Why aren't they present? Do you want to reach out and ask them? As if I have control over grown-ass men.
It seems suspicious that you have two fathers in a life and they're not involved.
It seems suspicious that you don't know that black men do this every single day.
It has nothing to do with black men. It has nothing to do with black men.
Excuse me.
It does.
That's an attack.
Excuse me. Black men don't do that every day.
No.
All right.
They do. Black men do this every day.
All men do this.
But her perspective is valid.
Yeah, that's her experience.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Quit trying to twist it. The fathers.
Oh, guys, let me turn my camera a little bit straighter. Hey, guys, welcome to Little Blackbird 91. We're talking to you guys, well, about Jefferi blaming black men for the reason why, you know, they just be leaving, up and leaving and just going about the business. They just be leaving her, and she has no clue why black men just be leaving her and leaving their kids, okay? But the problem is, you know, obviously we know that Simone broke this all the way down. And so this makes it even more incredulous that she came on to the reunion, which obviously they hadn't seen any of the episodes at a point in time, that now she said what she said. It's kind of looking a bit peak because we kind of know through Simone's breakdown that it's not the case. That is not the straight case of the situation. So there's a lot to discuss in that particular issue, a lot to discuss in that particular situation as well. So we're going to get into it, all right? We're going to get into it. And obviously, the OWN have released a few other clips as well, ready for the reunion going forward. So listen, if you are new to this channel, make sure you like, you share, you subscribe, and you click on that bell button for notification of the what? Uploads. And for those of you who are returnees, where you know what it is, baby, you got the minerals. Don't forget, click on that bell button and then click on the black bell. That gives you all notifications, okay? So you know when I'm uploading, you know when I'm going live, okay? Crazy things are happening. Crazy things are happening. All right, cool. So let's just go back to this video, and let's just break it down all the way. So she goes here.
In your kids' lives. Why aren't they present? Do you want to reach out and ask them?
Now let's pause right here, okay? First and foremost, let's be real. Andre, you knew this before you started. Like, listen, we have Blue and Mark Anthony who spoke to Jefferi, and you had the opportunity to get to know her more than anybody else. So this excuse of I couldn't leave her now, unless what you're really saying is I was under duress on contract and I was trying to get my fame up and trying to get my coins up, that's the reason why I ignored this issue. You're gonna have to be a little bit forthright and coming, because you, like everybody else, had the opportunity to ask her questions at the very beginning to know what happened to her two people. Now, Blue sussed it out from early. Okay? Blue's face told us everything we need to know. He sussed that out from early. He weren't buying it. Okay? But you and Mark Anthony decided to go forward. So, Andre, you've been there since the beginning. Are you telling me you didn't ask questions and figure out, wait, so none of the two baby daddies are actually involved and none of them want to actually know her? Did you not think that was also going to be part of the situation? Did you not think that would have been questions you should have asked at the beginning, which you probably did, but you're now trying to shirk it and drive it? So I can't let you have a pass. You can't have a pass. You can't pretend as if you didn't know what happened. You can't pretend as if, oh, I don't know how we got here. I don't know how, you had two baby daddies and I didn't. No. Take accountability. You are here because you chose her, and you're here because you ignored that red flag. Simple as. Own it, take it on board, and be accountable for it. Don't shirk and jive and try to steer the blame just to Jefferi. You know exactly what you're doing, right? Now, if you're going to expand on it and tell us there was more information that came out, fine, but you're still going to be accountable because you chose in the first place, and you had opportune time over several weeks to figure this out as to what happened to her baby daddies. So, Andre, you don't get the freeness, okay? You don't get a free hit on this one. All right, you don't get a free hit on this one. Yeah, cool. So that was the first thing I wanted to discuss. All right, let's watch a bit more. Okay.
As if I have control over grown-ass men.
It seems suspicious that you have two fathers in a life and they're not involved.
It seems suspicious that you don't know that.
So now he said, obviously, it's suspicious that two people, two people, had kind of abandoning you. And like I said, when Simone broke it down, there was far more to the story than just two men walking away from the situation. There was messiness, there was celebrity involved, there are different things that were involved. Okay, so let's be honest. I think what's happened here is both Andre and Jefferi, their business has come to an end. The Jefferi and Andre, they call each other's bluff. Jefferi and Andre have become enemies after being frenemies. You know what I mean? Like, y'all really sat there and planned to go through to the final and do whatever made you both look good. Now we're here. Whatever, maybe something was said, maybe something was done. I'm not really sure, but in all the cases, it's led to this demise. And in the demise, you guys are now battling it out. But the reality is, y'all were good in the beginning. Okay, all right, y'all were good in the beginning. But this two baby daddies not wanting to be in her life, we know there's more to the story. Of course, you know, there's more to the story in that situation as well. You know, and just to say as well again, you know. I think, you know, I think what we have to be very, very clear here is as well that when there's more to the story, I think we've got to be we got to be open to the context, right? If at one point somebody, for instance, gifted somebody a kid, as we know already, yeah, and that person wasn't receiving a gift, the person didn't want a gift. Did they really get a gift, or did they get trapped? And I often don't advocate for people that got trapped, because obviously you wore condoms, so you can't really get trapped. But still, at the same time, we can advocate for that. You know, so yeah, for me personally, you know, I definitely see on this aspect that, you know, it meets the eye. But again, we're going to discuss a little bit more as the video plays, right?
Black men do this every single day, and it's not for me to chase it.
It has nothing to do with black men.
Excuse me.
Okay, so this is where the argument starts. Now, the problem that we have here is okay, the problem that we have here is that the use of black men do this every day is going to be triggering. Okay, the use of black men every day are here do this is triggering, because it's not just black men, it's all men. All men do this. The stats don't say black men are the only ones. The stats say that all races have men, too many men, leaving their kids, right? So she knew that, and knew that she was on a panel of other black men, you know what I mean? Okay, with other black men, right? And dropping that comment in the point in time, right, was going to trigger some of those men, especially those men who obviously, you know, especially those men who obviously have split from the partner and still looking after their kids. People like Tony are doing this, you know, quote unquote, Blake is doing this as well, right? So Anthony is doing this as well, all right? So when you highlight the fact that black men are leaving their kids every single day, right, the language can be inflammatory. And that's why the argument started, right? So when she was checked, all she had to do was to say, listen, hey, well, okay, let me just change it. Men leave their kids every day, right? So that's all, because it became inflammatory at that point, right? And you know, when you start saying black men leave their kids every day, all you had to say was, I had two men that left me, right? And men leave kids every day. But when you add the black in there, you know exactly what you're doing. I'm sorry, you know exactly what you're doing. And for us to, if we're gonna pretend like, oh, she was talking from her experience, that's no, but you know what you're doing. You know, I know. You know what I mean? When I do my YouTube title, I know exactly what I'm doing. So let's not pretend, and let's not be naive. Let's not be ignorant. Let's not try that, right? We know exactly what it is, because when you see my title and I put it on my YouTube, many people be like, Coach, why is that the title of the thing? Because I'm trying to trigger y'all. Because I'm trying to get you guys in. We know exactly what it means when you put that extra added, you know, adjective or descriptive word in there. So adding the black, you that was going to trigger some people. Now at that point, at that point, when the men did challenge her and say, hey, it's not the men, it's not just black men, it's men of every it's men of every race, right? This would have been a good time just to buckle it down and be like, all right, cool then. Well, whatever you say, it's still that we know that men leave every day. At that point, if the men didn't say, oh, well, you can't just say it's men's women, they would have been like, oh, okay, whatever, guys. You know what I mean? So that's all important as well. So, that was also a very, very important part, right? And I'll get to this part.
That's an attack.
Excuse me. Black men don't do that every day.
No.
All right.
They do. Black men do this
No, they
every
don't.
day.
All men do this.
But her perspective is valid. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna say something, and maybe you can answer this. Every day there are black women who stop black men from seeing their kids. Is it true? Is it true? Every day there are black women out there who stop black men from seeing their kids every day. Right? But if I start making videos like that, they will start labeling me something, right? Because again, rhetoric, tone, what are you trying to deliver? Are you trying to heal or are you trying to cause division? Right? Are you trying to heal or are you trying to stop division? Now, Perfectly Imperfect says you can't stop men from seeing their kids. You don't know the world then very well. Because you can. Okay? You can. All right? So that's it, right? So we know that we know that obviously that situation, that there are men that do leave their kids. We know this already. But you were on a panel of men who haven't left their kids. So they were insulted by that. You know what I mean? They were offended by that. But it's not even like I'm even vexed about that moment. I'm not even really vexed about that moment, like Jeffrey saying that. I'm just saying why they would have got triggered in that moment, right? And so saying triggery statements, right? You can't then blame when people start getting triggered when you put a trigger statement. It's like when the manosphere do this kind of stuff, and I just be like looking at them like, oh, why are you triggered? Well, you put an inflammatory title which you knew would do. Right? You know that. So, and I don't like it when the men do it, manosphere do it. I hate it when women do it too. I hate when men do it. It's annoying when you intentionally try to put an inflammatory statement, then someone gets inflamed and you're like, why are you inflamed? You see how you triggered up? Well, you intentionally triggered them. Okay? You intentionally triggered them. So I know I just think to myself, that that situation. But like I said, Andre has to take accountability. She has to take accountability too. Why did you choose those type of men? I always keep it $100 a buck. You know what I'm saying? Chocolate Cheesecake said the stats are saying it. Well, I'm gonna say, well, according to the stats, you're choosing these men to sleep with, so you're also part of the problem. So if the men are leaving, I've got to say to you, accountability goes on to double. Why do you keep choosing men that are going to leave their kids? Because there's a bunch of men out there who don't leave their kids either. Like, we don't want to get into inflammatory conversations. What we want to do is bring healing to the situation. See what I'm saying to you, right? We don't want to get into inflammatory conversations. So we want to get into conversation that hopefully we'll be able to, have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? So I can see that I think I got a few people that are from a particular crowd here today. I can see they're in the chat and they're trying their best to stir. But I want to let them know this is not Cynthia G's crowd, So if you hate black men or dislike them, this isn't the space for it, darling. I'm not a manosphere person. So please, if you have the Cynthia G spirit in you I need you to Cynthia G yourself out to Cynthia G side. This is not the place for you. Okay. All right, thank you. Me, I don't do those games around here. Both men and women can get equal smoke. I don't put more blame on on the other and try to create hate content. It's not for me. So if you know you're from the Cynthia G crowd and you're in this space, this isn't the space for you. I need you to pop on off. All right, thank you. All right. So if you know you're about that crowd, that's what I'm saying. Get over to that side over there. This is not your side of the internet. Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. So let's continue on. Let's continue on. Let's continue on.
That's our experience.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Quit trying to twist it.
Okay, so again, I do understand what she's saying. So this is part of it is her experience. So I get it. What she's saying is her experience is black men leave every day, right? But your experience, but you have to remember as well when you're talking about your experience and you put it into the atmosphere, how are you delivering that message? Because the same person who's saying it's my experience. If the person turns around and says, "I believe that all black women are masculine, ugly, and this and that," well, that's my experience. So but you ain't dated everybody, so you can't say that. You can't say it in a generalized perspective when it's your experience. So you got to say it in your experience, because you didn't say black men left me. You said you're acting as if black men don't leave every day. So you made it a general statement at that point. When you make it a general statement at that point, then you get these kind of arguments. So if you had just said, "Listen, I had men. We know that men leave. We know men leave every day. 2 have left me. 2 have left me." You know what I mean? That would have been true. You know what I mean? So yeah. It's that particular aspect as well. It's that aspect in that conversation. So yeah, I think this is a little bit more empathy one has to put into when they're talking about certain situations. I think we have to be very conscious of that, how this riles both sides up. When we say all black women, we say all black men, and we start saying that, that then becomes where the issue lies on both sides. And that's where people start getting inflamed. And that's where people start getting annoyed. And I think what is evident is sometimes there are certain pockets, both of men and women, and I can see some of them in the chat, who don't mind being inflamed when it's their turn. But when they get flamed, they find it an issue. This is why they come from Cynthia G side and come to here. When you on your side of the internet, you don't mind flaming people, but when they're flaming you back, then you're cussing them all sorts of names. We don't bring healing that way. So we have to be aware of our delivery and how that lands. Do you get what I'm saying to you? And it's so funny because I was just doing some research. And around communication, about passive aggressive, and assertive communication. And one of the things about being passive in our communication is that it brings confusion. When you're passive aggressive, it brings confusion because outwardly you agree, but inwardly you don't agree. When we talk about being passive, you're just going to flow with everybody else. When you become aggressive, all it does is that it begins to bully and condemn and have so much judgment for other people, right? So what's important is that your language and the way you deliver something is not in the aggressive tone. If people are more concerned about fighting you about your tone, more than likely, not always, more than likely, what's going to happen is your point's going to be missed, because they're going to end up fighting your tone, which is why I'm saying to you, certain words are buzzwords, certain phrases put in a way are buzzwords, which is why I don't like saying, well, black women did it. I don't like doing that. Oh, black women do it. Because what will happen is people will stop listening to me and start listening to those key words that trigger them. And so, unfortunately, fortunately, we are human beings and we respond emotively. So you have to figure out a way how to communicate a certain thing. So you're saying it's your perspective. Sorry, it's your experience, but your experience is not all black men. Your experience is you had some black men, and you haven't even told a full story. because you haven't given the full context of the story, you know. You know, so you know, okay. I didn't say black men leave, so I didn't say that. So I hear you, Robin. I didn't say that they do leave. I haven't said they do leave or didn't leave. I'm just saying what she was saying. It's her experience, you know. You know. So it just starts to trigger, so you know. So that's why the issue kicked off. And so you saw who was arguing. It was Anthony, it was Tony, and these are two men who have kids. So they became inflamed about the thing rather than actually trying to actually hear what she's saying, because at that point they're no longer fighting. They're no longer fighting the point now. They're now fighting what's the tone of what's being said, because they've used certain words that are buzzwords. And this happens on both men and women's sides. So if you're ever out there and you ever want to communicate something, you know what buzzwords are going to trigger the either camp. The men on the man's side know it. The women on the women's side, they know it too. They call it dusties and simps and da-da-da. They'll know exactly what they're doing. And then the men on the other side as well will also will say something. And then the women also will get triggered by it and not listen to, you know. So it's all part and parcel of you know, it's all part and parcel of the conversation. It's very, very important in terms of you know, the situation. So chocolate cheesecake said, but how was it her fault the men left her kids? Well, I'm not going to say she shares all the blame, but we do have to take accountability. Some of y'all be choosing wrong. Some of y'all be choosing people. When you're gifting people kids, yeah, you're choosing wrong. If you are gifting somebody a kid, yeah, you're choosing wrong. That's you have to take accountability. Yeah, you have to take accountability. You know, so yeah, so you gonna have to take some accountability. If you gift people kids, I'm sorry, and a person doesn't want the gift, what kind of conversation did you actually have? So both sides need to take accountability. Both the man and the woman need to take accountability. It's equal on both sides. If he leaves, but did you pick him? Yes. You know. Now, some people, there's no red flags. Some people, it literally is, you've been married for years, that married for a year or two, and a man leaves after you've been pregnant, and then that situation, you know, that situation, that person leaves. That's not your fault. And they don't want to ever see the kids. That's not your fault. If you've opened up the space to do it. We heard Diana yesterday talk about it, right? We heard Diana talk about it yesterday. She said yesterday that she even tried to reach out to her father, and yet he didn't want to know. So there are situations where there are men who are trash. Those men like that, they are trash. You know what I mean? And we can hold those men accountable and say they don't deserve to be starting new families elsewhere when you've already got one you haven't even looked after. Similar to the Steve Harvey situation, similarly. I'm not gonna call him trash, but you can clearly see how much effort he put into Lori Harvey compared to his other you know, kids as well. You know, so I think it's all about holding both parties accountable when there is a situation where they're both kind of accountable. And on Jefferi's one, there is, because we're gifting kids. You know, you're gifting kids. So if you're gifting kids, what kind of conversation did you have? Do you know what I'm saying to you? Right? So we have to look at the pattern and the rhetoric of how you're choosing. And I know it may be heavy for someone like yourself, Chocolate, and as well, a few of you others in the chat may not like that, right? I understand it may be very hard to accept that there may be some onus or some accountability on your behalf. I get it. I hear you. You want to put all the blame on the man. I hear you. But you know, one of the first things they do when you go into therapy and stuff, they usually don't talk about the other person. They talk about you. Why did you find yourself in that situation? What steps led up to that point? Like I said, not everybody's an exception to the rule. A lot of times with people, when they actually look at the situation of who they slept with and who they laid down with, both the man and the woman are accountable. in a lot of occasions. And there are some that are like just trash men. And there's some where they're just trash women. But a lot of occasions, both parties are trying to figure it out, and power grapples happen and stuff like that. And people find themselves in jostles with people, and where you got to take accountability. Yeah. And since she told us a little bit of the story, she got to take accountability. So, you know, that's that situation right there, right? So Empress Horton said, all the black men in my family don't play about their kids, whether they are with their mothers or not. But Andre should not be weaponizing this against her when he knew she had kids. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, absolutely. And you know, this is a key thing. You know, Andre knew. So he doesn't get a pass. That's why I said he doesn't get a pass around here. We can't pass Andre because he was involved with Jefferi for a long time. See, and things like this, where, you know, Andre can't blame anybody. If he ends up in a situation with Jefferi and she gets pregnant, he can't blame nobody. So you knew what she was on. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be free from that accountability at all. So yeah, thank you, Empress Horton, for that. K Kisses 30 says, I learned my lesson, swore I would be married when I had my second child. It took me a little while to understand I chose wrong. You're also still a dusty deadbeat. Two things to be true at once. And I love this comment here, Kay. I really do appreciate you sharing this transparency and vulnerability in this moment, and accountability as well. She says, I learned my lesson. I swore I would be married when I had my second child. It took me a while to understand I chose wrong. He also still is dusty deadbeat. Two things to be true at once. And that is beautiful. How both things can be true at once. He could be a dusty deadbeat and he could be absolutely trash, not seeing his kids. But she's taken accountability and understood that what choice was she making. Otherwise, you end up being a victim to life. And I don't want you to be a victim to life. You know, so I don't want you to be a victim. So what I'm saying to you is chocolate cheesecake 3. I want to let you know, listen, the way you've kind of put some of your comments, it sounds like you want to be a victim. And I don't want you to be a victim. I want you to understand, like you just said, if a man sees a woman, he's also accountable because he slept with that woman. And if they end up having a child, he's accountable. If you sleep with him, you accountable. You can't run away from that, right? So whether he chooses to stay or not, according to your own life, you are accountable for the choices you make in your life. He is accountable for the choices he makes in his life. And that's what we love around here. We love talking about accountability on both parties' sides. So Andre crying now on the net about this aspect of Jefferi is annoying. You know, it's annoying because it's like you knew what you were getting into, right? You knew what you were getting into. You know, you knew what you were getting into. So yeah, man, it's annoying. You know, it's annoying and it's political, but you know, he can't be crying on my internet now and talking about you had 2 baby daddies when you knew this already. That for me is frustrating. So yeah, we love that. So let's just see if there's any more comments before I move it to the next video. You know, as well. So you know, someone said you have the right to get back. Oh, gracious. You know, somebody said, I have 2 brothers who are great dads, and they went through similar things with the mothers trying to keep the children away. Yeah, and listen, look, I'll be honest, I'm one of the first. I used to be like, these men leave their kids, da, 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 da. And then I heard some women, not many. I had 1 or 2 women talk about what happened after they had kids. I was shooketh, and I started to have empathy for men. Because sometimes what happens is we don't get to hear the other side, right? We hear one side about, he left me, he was bad, he was a deadbeat. We hear all those stories. Hold on. We hear all the kind of stories until I heard from the mouth of a woman, 2 of them, from the mouth of a woman who said when they got pregnant, the relationship broke up, and the man, they didn't really like the man anymore because their relationship wasn't great. So you know what? They didn't do so much, but they were trying to keep the kid away from him. And I was like, wait, what? You lot generally do this? Wow. Madness. So when you start to hear it from your own mouth, you start to realize there is also on the other side. But I would never say black women keep their kids away from black men. I wouldn't say that. It's triggering, and I wouldn't say that. It's even triggering for the women that are even looking for me to say, oh, black women keep their kids away from black men who want to see their dads, like I hear on the manosphere side. If I do that, I'm also dishonoring the fact that there are black women who generally want their children to know their fathers, and those fathers don't want to be involved. And they would have every right to feel some type of way about my content if I came out preaching that, you know? So yeah, that's you know, that's also important as well. You know? So Jung asks, why are the men always let off the hook for leaving? I think the reality is that the men are they are let off the hook because of society, how it is. You know, and this is why also, whilst I believe that accountability for both men and women, why women should police the womb very, 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 very carefully. Police your wombs very, very carefully, because these men can get away with it, and they will. And there is no punishment apart from what? They get some financial income. That's it. You know what I mean? But the reality is, bad men hang around bad men. They don't hang around good men. See, when good men gather, they gather around with other good men. So these bad guys who want to just get up and leave and not look after their kids, they don't hang around the good guys like myself and other men out there too, because we don't like that kind of stuff. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Right? So yes, these men should not be let off the hook. So please, police your wombs. Police your wombs, that not everybody can have access to your womb like that. You're going to have to, because these, unfortunately, how life is, the consequence of their action is generational. These kids suffer. You suffer financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. You know what I mean? You suffer in all these ways, and he gonna get away with it. That is the unfortunate reality and an unfortunate shame. You know, and definitely, Jackie, we had smoke for Blake. Oh, we did. You know, even when I interviewed him, I had some smoke for him. I wasn't agreeing with what he did. That don't make no sense. You know. So yeah, that was also another thing as well. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yeah, this is it's real, you know. It's real. It's real. It's real. Like what some of these men do go through is real. Some men be suffering, you know. And again, that's not to discount what women go through. We're just talking about the fact that some men go through some hardship just trying to see their child. You know? Yeah. You know, so yeah, it's not easy out here in the dunya. Okay, so what's our extra points? Okay, cool. Okay, so let's talk about another one, because Tony and Thingy got into a situation. So let's play that, right? Okay, so let me play this clip for you guys.
How does it feel when you look at the clip and you see the passionate kiss between Lyndon?
That thing was passionate, boy.
Ooh. Never knew that Lyndon kissed Morgan. So
that was your first time seeing it?
First time seeing it.
All right. So first time seeing that Morgan kissed Lyndon. Madness in the dunya. Wait. Listen, it's crazy. You know, madness in the dunya. Okay. I did not know. I thought he knew. You know, I thought he knew. Okay, but if it's the first time he saw it, she never told him, but she had the audacity. See what I'm saying to you? She had the audacity to bring up Natasha, who was before your time. Like when I tell you that you need to dodge certain women like this is what I mean, right? Certain, not all, certain, right? When you see toxicity, don't run towards it. Now, Tony's got some accountability taking it, and I did a video on this. Did I not at the time? You guys know I did a video at the beginning of the season, and I said, does Tony need to take accountability? Because if he can see the crazy and he still proceeds to go forward, he has to take accountability. He's not blindsided at that point, right? So if Tony decides to go forward, okay, all right, and he decides to move forward with Morgan, I got no one else to blame but him, right? So, you know, we saw how she kissed Lyndon, all excited, and it looks like he's got his arm around Marcia, which would be also kind of just madness, because, like, bro, if you wanted Marcia, why did you not go after Marcia? You were trying to smash Morgan. Let's keep it real, all right? I don't understand what's happening here. So let's play a little bit more.
But I respect Lyndon. You know, he's a go-getter. He had an attraction, and vice versa with Morgan. I understand it. Do I like it? No, but I understand.
Feel uncomfortable.
Now, he said, obviously, you know, do I like it? No, but, you know, do I understand it? Yes. Now, here's my thing, you know, that kiss with Lyndon, we all knew it was going to be a problem, because she chose to do that when she was sending them off, right? Like a parting gift. And Lyndon was never going to be her choice. Like, it just blows my mind. Like, Lyndon was never going to be a choice. She wasn't crying over Lyndon. She was crying over, I believe she was crying over the opportunity to have choice. It was never really about Lyndon. Lyndon was so young for her, and he's not got the same timestamp. So, you know, this kiss with Lyndon, let's do it for the, you know, like I said, what are we doing? Right? What are we doing? Do you see what I'm saying to you? Why are we kissing people? Right? Because we know what we're doing. We're trying to get back at the other person. You know, get my little lick back in. You know, let you know that, you know, I ain't for it. You ain't gonna outdo me. Okay, I'm gonna outdo you. You know? So you know, she used Lyndon. But I told you this, they were a triangle of users. Tony, Morgan, Lyndon were all triangulating in their usury, including Lyndon. I know some of you didn't like that, but I said it. Lyndon looked like a pawn. He was not a pawn. He was not a pawn. He was heavily involved. He was fighting tooth and nail to even get to the end for what? You knew that she wanted Tony, right? And you knew she was here to play games. You knew that she had a different plan to you, lifelong plan to you, but you wanted to go forward because you wanted to enjoy a little bit. You wanted to get back at Tony. Lyndon was only there to serve a purpose to annoy Tony. He knows. You know, he knew exactly, Edna. He said it at the time. Tony's going to be annoyed at it. Tony's going to be angry at. Why would you say that? Because you know exactly what you're doing. You know what it's gonna mean. So Lyndon is not free either. But Lyndon, Tony, Morgan, all of them were using each other in this triangle. You know, all of them using each other for this triangle. Political. Okay. Let's listen a bit more.
Right, a little, yeah, uncomfortable.
Marcia, why did you reject the kiss from my man Lyndon?
I was like, what the hell is happening? Because Lyndon don't open up easily. Right. So
now, even the situation, with Lyndon and Marcia, we know he tried to kiss Marcia. The boy weren't serious. We know he tried to kiss Marcia. Now I heard Tony's interview, and he said obviously him and Lyndon were cool at a point in time. You know, they were cool at a point in time, but it's you know, so Lyndon was playing his game. Okay, Lyndon was playing his game. He knew exactly what he was doing, playing his game. He was enjoying. Okay, right. He was enjoying frustrating Tony and beating him in a game of egos, right? You can see, obviously, Lyndon, Morgan sitting close.
I felt like I shut him down, but I liked him. But I was like, I love Lyndon. I'm so sorry.
I love you too. Lyndon being Lyndon came back and was like, yep.
So yeah, listen, there's nobody that's free though. You know, nobody that's free though. You know, listen, it's wild out here, man, to see these kind of stuff happening, man. Like I respect Lyndon though. He's a competitor, you know. And Tony was triggered. No, Tony can say whatever he wants, but Tony was triggered, man. Tony was absolutely triggered by Lyndon. He was triggered by the fact that Lyndon actually wanted to compete with him, right? He was like wanting Lyndon to give up and have a clean, easy run. But Lyndon said, nah, dog. It's a you and me thing. It's a you and me thing. You understand? Yeah. So yeah, he wasn't gonna give up easy. And that frustrated Tony a lot as well, you know. So that's an interesting thing, you know. But the way that Tony's got his arm around Marcia, that boy is feeling Marcia. Look how he's even leaning in. He doesn't have to lean in, you know. He does not have to lean in at all. Tony does not have to lean in at all. But look what he's doing. Look how he's leaning in. Shoulder all press upon her shoulder, arm around her arm as well. Like he don't have to do this, but he doing this. You know, Tony, you don't have to do that, but he doing it. Again, it sounds like you've chosen Marcia, and that just links back to the getaway when he thought that Marcia might even come back, sir. Interesting, you know. Look at that lean in. I want to lean and bop, bop, lean, bop. Probably, you know what? You're probably right. Maybe he's just trying to make her mad. You know what I mean? You know, maybe he's just trying to make her mad. And Marcia probably didn't mind being used to make her mad. You know? So, it's mad in the dunya, you know? Definitely mad in the dunya. All right, cool. Let's play. I'm going to play another clip. Talk about another thing as well.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
Okay now. So, Jeffrey, why do you think you hit it off with so many of these?
Now, this is one of the interesting things as well, because they're going to talk about Jefferi and Andre's connection in the show. And obviously that's what leads to the conversation around what we saw on the page originally, right?
These men early on.
Mark Anthony, he's very honest and upfront. Personality, heart-wise, Lou has the biggest heart, I think.
End of the journey. You chose Andre.
Now, listen, I love Andre's fashion sense. He'd be wild, but I love his fashion sense. He's got confidence, and I respect that. You know, I respect the fact that he's got that confidence to wear his suit the way he wears it. I love it. It's beautiful. Mwah. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm never gonna be mad at it, man. I love the fact he has his own. You know what I mean? It couldn't be me, but I love the fact he can do his own. You know, and he don't care for nothing. It's confident. It's a good look. You know.
What made him stand out beyond all these other guys? When I hear these pauses, they like.
My girl paused, you know, to answer the question. What made Andre stand out? Baby, you don't have to like him to tell the truth. What made him stand out? Okay? What made him stand out, babe? Okay, that's what we're trying to ask. What made him stand out compared to the rest of the other men? I know he hurt you, but sis, it shouldn't be that hard. Somebody said it, biblical husband. That's what she said he was, a biblical husband, you know. She said this, not us, so, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tommy don't know nothing about. Where does it waver?
We have that beautiful moment on the finale. And
so what happened here? So the question is this: at what point will Jeffrey have to take accountability for the choice of men that she choosing? And at what point will Andre have to take accountability for the choice of women that he chose? Now he chose to leave Cynthia alone and go after Jeffrey. And I'm asking the question to myself: is he clout chasing? Is he just trying to get his face out there in the public? Is he trying to become one of those people that are, you know, a star from the show? Like, what is he looking for? You know, what is he looking for? But you know, you don't like them anymore, but you still be able to tell us why you liked him, you know.
Then after that, I didn't hear from Dre.
Wow.
There was an event down here, and I told Dre, I said,
Now the way he reacted and said, you know, wow. I wonder if that means that he's actually rejecting her synopsis and her summarization of what actually happened in the relationship. Right now, I'm not going to say he was unserious or whether she was unserious. I'm not going to say either until I hear the actual story come out. And so it's interesting how he says, "Oh wow," as if that he doesn't believe that story is coming out of her mouth. Now, I'm not going to say that he's right or wrong. I'm just going to say, "Wow, it's interesting." You know, I'm not going to say yes or no. I'm going to say it's interesting.
"Hey, I'm coming. I'll be down here." This was like maybe what, at least 2-3 weeks after. Still hadn't. Yeah,
after the last day.
Yeah.
Yes, I feel like
So, you know, I think it's interesting that that you know they haven't been speaking for what, 2 weeks apparently up until that point. So for some reason he hadn't contacted her for 2 weeks. I want to know what happened. Why didn't he contact her for 2 weeks? What was happening that you couldn't message her for 2 weeks? What did you see? What did you experience? What did you feel? You know what I mean? Like what was happening? Because clearly you didn't want to talk to her. You really didn't want to talk to her. You avoided it all. That's saying something.
being attacked.
Oh.
Ain't nobody attacking you.
No, he may have quit the thing because yes, maybe he had sex with her, maybe he got what he wanted, and you know, and I won't even discount that because the reality is the reason why he's saying he's leaving is because of something that, you know, what he saw on the show. That don't make no sense. So for me, maybe it was the fact that, you know, Dre was, you know, he's had his fill now. Now he's had sex. He's like, let me cool my interest. Let me back out a little bit. Let me not get too serious now. You know, as well. So I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm not gonna choose a side yet until I listen to the whole situation. I ain't ready yet until I hear the whole situation. So no, it's interesting. And just to point out as well, Jefferi's voice, baby, what's going on? What is going on, baby? What is going on?
Get out of here. Get out of here, man.
Right? So listen, she gonna have to get out of here with all that stuff. Get out of here with all that kind of stuff. So that voice, baby put a little, I need a rough nigga, you know what I mean? She put that little, she put the best spot. I said, baby, what happened to the what happened to the anime voice? Why we got a different anime voice now? Why we got a different character voicing you, bruv? Huh? Suddenly you know you got you what, talking with some bass. I said, baby, I need you to pipe down. Where did this energy come from? Where does guvu energy come from? Where does this guvu energy come from? It's like energy. Suddenly you're strong now, bruv. That voice. You've been using it to get these men to see your femininity. Is there femininity still there, Andre? Is there femininity still there that you were crying about all season long? Talk about how she's feminine, she's wife material, she's ready right now. What were you seeing, sir? No. What were you seeing that you've now seen? What have you experienced that you now couldn't experience then? You were all talking about how you know, she's wifeable material, she's this and that. Suddenly you got some bass in the voice. Now we knew your voice was fake. Don't get twisted, but I'm still a bit shocked. Girl had me at the what you want. Had me at that D-boy voice. I said, sis, what the hell? Right? So now if I know you're changing your voice, what else can I trust you on? Nothing. We know you've been lying. So like there's nothing to, ain't no point. So this is madness, it's nuts, And yeah, listen. It's a madness. Yeah, I did hear about Blue. Apparently Blue got arrested. For he got arrested for COVID loan payments, right? So he did some COVID. He took some money for COVID, and it was apparently a fraud. He frauded the frauded the system. I was like, wait, what? You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's a lot right now. That's what I would say. It's a lot right now. I've even got what you call it? I can't even try and read it because they want me to type in. But the article that it says apparently he got arrested, but I didn't know his full name, so I just kind of saw it. But someone sent it to me, and I haven't really double checked it personally 100%. But yeah, man, it's crazy. Apparently he's been sentenced for like 2 years or something like that. So he's gonna be in prison for 2 years. I said, damn, that Blue, what were you doing? And then he said he bought like a Mach 3, M3 BMW. I said, God damn. I hope that BMW was a prized possession or some kind of vintage one into lifetime kind of vehicle, because why are we spending our PP loans on this, please? Why are we spending 2 million on our PP loans? Why are we spending that money on cars and stuff? Why are we spending on cars? What the hell? Irrelevant stuff. It just makes me. I'm looking at it going, you didn't even use it to do some everyday choppings. Instead, you want to buy a huge ass cars, right? You thought the PPP was free? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we can't even defend you because you thought the PPP was free. You thought the PPP was free. Come on now. Come on. They weren't giving this money out for free, right? Almost 500,000. Come on. Almost 500,000. So that's wild. Very, very wild. I'll try and read it, but it's wild. 586 cheese of bread. Sorry. 582,000. Sir, went and bought a 2001 BMW M3 for 31,000. A BMW M3 in this generation, like, yo, brother, why? Why? It don't even make sense. Well, I don't know why people thought they would get away with it. It's a PP loan. The Fed took the BMW and assets to recoup. No. Oh. So really and truly, he's a fraudster. I don't get it. So it doesn't make sense. Let's see. Let's see if I can actually watch it. I'll see if I can get it open. Let's see if I can read an article for you guys. But yeah, 31. I said so. It says I can let's because our time is almost up. So we'll just read this last little bit for you guys, and then we'll be out for you as well. So Let's just read it. Here we go. So it says here, as coronavirus spiked, a Fort Lauderdale man who claimed to have marketing business with dozens of employees asked the federal government for hundreds of thousands of dollars in COVID-19 relief loans. In shorter order, Damian Davis received $586,545 in a series of bank-approved loans for that business and 2 others over the summer of 2020. But he didn't spend the money on employees and other overhead as required under Paycheck Protection Program approved by Congress as part of the CARES Act to keep the company afloat. Davis, 41, spent the emergency funds on himself, including a 2001 blue BMW M3 for $31,000, according to his plea agreement on fraud charges in Fort Lauderdale. Federal government, by PP loan fraud standards, the exotic car purchase paled next to usual acquisitions of Lamborghinis, Bentleys, and Teslas with ill-gotten pandemic loans. So that was the only thing he spent. So I think he spent $31,000 of that money on a car, but I don't know what else. Still, the convicted marketer was sentenced this week to 2 years in prison, joining the ranks of hundreds of illicit business people, gang members, and other offenders who have been swept up by the feds' crackdown on PPP loan fraud in South Florida. According to the court records, David operated 3 marketing firms that applied for pandemic loans meant for struggling businesses: Wolf of Flagger LLC in Fort Lauderdale, 128,400 Crates Tavern LLC, Pompano Beach, and 183,780, and Fifth Marketing Group LLC, Pompano Beach 274365. Earlier this year, Davis pleaded guilty to bank and wire fraud charges stemming from the third PPP loan application for Fifth Marketing. So the rest of it was fine, but it was for Fifth Marketing LLC where he spent the money from. Chais. In a factual statement filed in a federal court, Davis admitted falsified information about Fifth Marketing numbers of employees, payroll, and other overhead costs, such as rent on the PPP loan application in July 2020. He said the company had 26 employees and a monthly revenue of $109,746. Both lies, the statement said. David also used taxpayer who wrote up falsified tax forms to submit with his PPP loan application, which was approved by an unnamed bank. The loan for the Fifth Marketing would be guaranteed by the Small Business Administration as long as the funds were used for legitimate business purposes. They weren't, the feds say. After receiving the PPP loan proceeds, the defendant did not make any payroll payments. Chai, so where was the money going to? According to a factual statement signed by Davis, defense lawyer Carlos Gonzalez, and prosecutor Bertilla Fernandez, he misused the funds. On August 28, 2020, defendant wired $31,000 to RES for alleged purchase of equipment. The statement said, however, the defendant did not buy equipment. He purchased a 2001 BMW M3. The BMW was titled in the defendant's name. God damn. God damn, he was caught red-handed. Red-handed. My gosh. Okay? My gosh. He needed a better attorney and a better accountant, clearly. You know? Trust me. They be coming for you, Paula. They ain't playing. They are not playing. They said, listen, we're going to get this money back. You know? I'm not mad at it. Listen, at the end of the day, I don't think they did him dirty. He got 2 years for fraud. It is what it is. It's 2 years is man, she. Of 586,000 and off that 31,000 with the buy BMW. Why would you want to do that? Go and buy yourself a car. Huh? What is the point? Blue, what is the point? What is the reason? Man. Anyway, let's leave it there. We'll be back later on. We're back in like 10 minutes or so. I'm going to be live with Crystal. We're doing Put a Ring on It as well. So if you're interested in Put a Ring on It from Ready to Love, then come get on that as well. You know, we want to see you guys. But I'm going to love you and leave you guys Okay, we're gonna see you again very soon, a little bit later on for Married at First Sight. Oh, baby, that was a show and a half today. All right, but y'all know already. Okay, we can't leave you without leaving you with something.
I'm leaving here with something. You know what I mean? I'm from around the way. I'm leaving with something.
I'm leaving here with something. We had over 600 of you guys come through. Much appreciation as well for that. You know, we appreciate you for coming through and you know, showing out as well. Don't forget to like the video, share it with somebody, subscribe as well, and don't forget we got our new merch out as well. Don't forget the new merch, baby. Okay, we got the new merch. Don't miss out on the new merch. If you're part of the team, you already know what it is, baby. Okay, all right. Sit on a bench and heal. Okay, all right. And this is for you guys. Okay, so we got some new merch on the way. You said you wanted to see my sit on a bench and heal. Okay. Look what even says at the back here. Healing takes place in rest. Look at that. Okay, don't play with it. 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 Get your merchandise. Get aboard. Get your hats. Get your hoodies, and get your bucket hats as well. Listen, I'm gonna love you. I'm gonna leave you. Okay. All right. I'm gonna have to love you and leave you. But you know what? I ain't gonna be mad at you. Okay. I ain't gonna be mad at you. Do you know why? Because you know what? It's been a good day. Okay.